Mata, Karuna, Matimba, Aina, Watintabafazi, Watintimbokoto. Thank you very much, comrades. We start our program today. As we move, we must exercise maximum discipline. We serve one organization which is called Economic Freedom Fighters. All of us here, we are together in the struggle. But Warnava, Sokola, Gauteng, Hauna, the services, they rely on this organization, comrades. I'm going to call upon our Provincial Secretary, Commissar Mushekoma, to address us with the organizational report. GPS.
Amandla awethu Matimba Aina, long live the EFF, long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live the EFF in Tshwane region, long live the EFF in Joburg region, long live the EFF in Western region, long live the EFF in Sirian region, long live the EFF in Ikurulere, long live the EFF in Ikurulere, long live the EFF in Gauteng, long live Tata Grand Forces, Tata Tina Grand Forces, Tina Pata Gauteng Province, Pata Tata Gauteng Province, Tata. Thank you very much. To our Deputy President, to our CCT employees, Commissar Mam Renelo Mashavela, members of the Central Command team here present, Dr. Lawrence Mazitela, Mama Siwisa, the acting chairperson of the province, Commissar Itani Mukwebo, our officials of the province, Khupelo, Deputy Secretary, Khupelo Holo, the Treasurer, Mazwi, RCT members here present, our delegates. Thank you very much to be here with you. It's an honor and also a pleasure to present you the organizational report of the EFF in Gauteng province. In our table of content, you have the introduction, you have the item 1, up until item 13, which is conclusions. I'll start page by page with our introduction. Our third Provincial People's Assembly organizational report of Gauteng. From onset, our founding manifesto states that our decision to fight for the economic emancipation of our people of South Africa and Africa and the world. The Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, locates struggle for economic emancipation within the long resistance of South Africans to racial, colonial, and imperial political, economic, and social dominations. Gathered here today, it is a generational mission which brought us here to this festival of ideas, the third Provincial Assembly. The President and the Commander-in-Chief and the Central Command team employees, our provincial members, regions, as well as the branch leaders, and all branch delegates gathered here today. It is a privilege to present you the organizational report to you. This third Provincial People's Assembly, the PPA, convened just after our radical militant economic emancipation movement celebrated its 9th anniversary. Although we gathered at the provincial level, we must be mindful of the unitary nature of the organization and ask ourselves, what is the milestone means for us as members of the organization, as the province in particular? For this understanding ourselves as a unitary structure, that we must take our place in the society as branches of the organization. To be a member of the EFF is to be an activist in a social change, is to be an agent of the revolution through economic freedom in our lifetime, which can be attained. Commissars and fighters, while it remains a common fact that the organization thrive and live in all provinces, Gauteng province represents itself with the unique political dimensions. Our province hosts the biggest population in South Africa, with close to 11 million people. This despite the fact that it's a relatively small one compared with the other provinces geographically. One of the reasons for this is that Gauteng is the economic hub of the country and the gateway into Africa. Urbanization, job creation, opportunities, generally speaking, is sought in our province. We are all known as the city of gold, and yet, ironically, we have the greatest inequalities. This is part of the reason why we are in this assembly, to report back on the mandate which was given to us in the last PPA. For this assembly to resolve on and also engage on the future of the EFF in Gauteng, both in terms of leadership mandate, in terms of how the elected leadership has lived up to the organizational mission and transforming the lives of our people in our province. Ours coming here together in this way must be understood within the context of the major events, globally, nationally, even provincial, which have unfolded since 2018, when the Provincial Command Team, PCT, was elected and mandated the second PPA. This report will reveal much work that has been done in terms of placing the EFF in the political arena and the world map. The women-only march, which the province unleashed to the Constitutional Court in 2019, is unprecedented occurrence in the province. The massive march was petitioning the judges and magistrates to be trained in handling sexual offenses cases, was attended by over 5,000 women and stand as the biggest women march since 1994. In the same year, we protected against the illegal building demolition in Alexander by the city of Johannesburg. When history has to judge the EFF in Gauteng, these events and many other contributions will be clearing reminders of the gallant and fearless spirit of fighters in the province. Later on, this report will account on these programs. As we reflect on the past 4 years, we must not lose sight of the fact that soon after assuming office, the PCT encountered challenges which had never been seen in the history of this province, the organization as a whole and the world. A deadly virus called COVID-19 and the declaration of the national lockdown set the motion to a new way of doing things. We are aware that the meeting of the PCT took place primarily at the provincial office, while regions met in their respective regions as branches did. Because of these challenges, fighters could not have physical contact in terms of convening meetings and mass gatherings. With the rise of COVID-19 national, the province generally having high reported cases, leadership have to treat all these programs and engagement with caution. This meant that the EFF offices in the province had to be closed from time to time and the organizational activities to be either postponed or cancelled. Despite this, the leadership had to ensure that the organization keep afloat of navigates enduring in spite of the pandemic, in part of owing to the fact that this province is the home of the EFF headquarters. We were always able to draw the inspiration from the national leadership on how to navigate the unusual terrain. Among some of the interventions we made were moving our meetings to a visual platform and also encouraging people to join the organization via the online membership system, which made it easier to our people to attain membership with ease. Political education was also rolled out on social media platforms during the pandemic. Notwithstanding these challenges, fighters were always seen on the ground. Protests and marches were unleashed in 2020 in solidarity with the workers through the labor desk and the right midst of the COVID-19. Among some of these reminders, we have lived up to the call of both fearless and anti-imperial. Not only that, you have always lived up to the internationalist and pan-Africanist call, which our founding manifesto enjoins us when we fought against the self-hated stances of the vigilante group called Dudula. When everyone had turned their backs on our African brothers and sisters in Soweto, in Alexander, Dislot, you called on justice. Through the intervention of the EFF, the group chief delinquent was arrested and criminal charges were opened. Indeed, you are progressive forces which this world has been waiting for. Fighters, it should be noted that in the 2018 PPA, membership of the EFF in this province stood at 50,925. Now the membership of the EFF is sitting at 137,242. This represents an increase of 170% when compared to 2018. A detailed report on the membership will be covered in this report. As we reflect on the journey from the elections of the second PCT in 2018 to 2022, we will consider the following aspects in this report. Number one, the second Provincial People's Assembly. Number two, Provincial Command Team. 3, officials. 4, Provincial Office. 5, portfolios of deployment. 6, membership. 7, state of the province. 8, programs and organizational activities. 9, governance and elections. 10, organizational discipline. 11, obituaries. We now turn to deal with each of the above headings in a sequence. Number one, the second Provincial People's Assembly, as noted above, the province of Gauteng went to its second Provincial People's Assembly held on the 31st to the 1st of September 2018, which was addressed by the President and the Commander-in-Chief, Julius Selomale. The Assembly managed to conduct its mandate by electing the leadership and resolve on the mandate to be implemented by the elected leadership. The Assembly was attended by delegates from 476 branches in good standing at that time out of 529 IEC wards in the province, with a membership of 50,925 to total membership. The second PPA was convened at the time of preparation for 2019 national election, which was another forum to strengthen the elections campaign program, establishment of election structures from the voting district level. Below is the elected leadership of the Provincial Command Team from the second PPA as per the constitution adopted in the First National People's Assembly. The second NPA elected all those people that are mentioned there. After deliberation by the delegates in this assembly, the following resolutions were noted. The EFF should strive towards maximizing support in the 2019 national elections. Ensure that the movement work towards being the leading political party in the elections of the province. EFF should strive towards increasing its representation in the legislature and ensure that election structures are established as per the CATF guidelines. Ensure that the EFF exists in all corners of the province. Ensure that the EFF is launched in all 529 IEC wards. Ensure maximum visibility of the EFF throughout the province. Strengthen the political education in order to raise EFF political consciousness among its structures and members in general. Media and communications must be strengthened in order to contest the bourgeoisie's propaganda propagated to our people in the province. With this discipline displayed in this third assembly, we can conclude that things are going to go accordingly, unlike other political parties which have to convene and have to come back and reconvene to finish their business. 2, Provincial Command Team. The Provincial Command Team, as elected in the second NPA, was tasked with the responsibility of building strong, visible, present organization in the province, will make an impact in government as parties in the legislature. The structures managed to lead the delegation to the Second National Assembly in 2019, which was held in this province. We also had an opportunity to host some of the national programs. Among those were Siyabonga Rally held in Ikuruleni region, which was addressed by the President and Commander-in-Chief. The Siyabonga Rally was to thank the voters for having confidence in the organization, as the Commander-in-Chief will say in this address at the rally, by voting for the organization in numbers which made the ruling party to decline in all the metros and the province as compared to the previous elections. This should be a signal of the green light for 2024 national election, that there is not going to be a party that is going to lead in this province without the assistance of the other parties. This structure has to meet once a month to look into the programs and general life of the organization. It has to ensure that structures of the EFF are in good health, both regions and branches, including structures that were created for the specific purpose, e.g., election structures. Sometimes the PCT will convene to address specific issues, programs on the special basis. In most cases, such meetings will be led by the President and Commander-in-Chief, our one and only President Julius Malema, who is officially deployed in our province. These meetings were held, among other things, to discuss the programs as noted. Preparation for the regional assemblies in 2019, which needed 90% of the branches in the regions, ensure that branches meet newly adopted requirements to qualify to convene. At the center was that all members must be full members and must be registered to vote. 2019 election campaign period, which there was a need to monitor closely the programs of campaign, establishment of election structures from VD level up to the province, ensure that the province meet its target of voter support. The province meetings 1 million membership Thrive campaign, which intertwined with meeting the target of 90% of branches that will have convened to participate in the third People's Assembly. The leadership collective worked together with no unusual challenges experienced by the existing organization, which we are proud to mention that those challenges never brought us any. The leadership will at all times refuse to prioritize such challenges over organizational responsibility to lead by an example. The structures was given an induction workshop with all its RCTs by the Commander-in-Chief, President Julius Malema. The induction was based on the basic principles of the organization to be known by any leader of the EFF at any given time. When asked to express the position of the EFF, the founding manifesto, the constitution, the revolutionary code of conduct. This induction workshop was to give an overall understanding of the EFF principles, so that in what action we will find ourselves in, will have been guided and protected by the principles and values of this organization as it captured in the 3 above documents. Below is the PCT in the second PPA is as follows. 2.1, officials elected was Mandisa Machiro as the chairperson. 2, Fighter Itani Mugweba, deputy chairperson. 3, Commissar Mushokoma, provincial secretary. 4, Fighter Hupele Ol as the deputy secretary of the province. 5, Fighter Gitingi Mazu, provincial treasurer. 2.2, additional members elected. Moreover, in the second PPA elected the following additional members. Number 1, Fighter Pelinda Shikwani. 2, Fighter Aziz Tangan. 3, Fighter Mamburu. 4, Fighter Liza Poko. 5, Fighter Kolega Manju. 6, Fighter Papi Machiche. 7, Fighter Lebohan Soul. 8, Fighter Philip Magwala. 9, Fighter Malisela Altwaba. 10, Fighter Sulim Kize. 11, Fighter Nondlandla Khadebe. 12, Fighter Beverly Bendenos. 13, Fighter Sarama Lulege. 14, Fighter Violet Matawal. 15, Fighter Ruth Masemola. 16, Fighter Lindy Wazim. As this committee was working together during this journey, Other leaders could not finish the term with us because of the challenges and resignations. The former provincial chairperson resigned from the organization in February 2020. Below is the PCT that could not finish the journey with us with the reasons mentioned. Mandisa Masho resigned as a member of the EFF and as a member of the PCT. For Italindi Ozimba, she stopped being active in the PCT organizational program until the PCT decided to release her after numerous attempts to reach out to her. Due to these challenges, then the provincial deputy chairperson, Commissar Itano Mukwebo, assumed the responsibilities of the chairperson immediately. As a result, the PCT composition currently stands at 19 members as opposed to 21 as noted in the Constitution. As much as this structure has succeeded in upholding its constitutional mandate of implementing the mandate of the second PPA, it will be important for this assembly to know that this structure is inspired by the high-level commitment of ground forces who are always available for this organizational duty. At any time, and a call will make, whether early or extremely late, fighters will respond positively in numbers. That is the fighter that we need to multiply as much as possible in this province. 2.3, PCT and PCC meetings. The PCC continues to meet as mandated in order to process all organizational matters. The PCT has convened 53 times between 2018 and 2022, with some of the meetings being physical while others were virtual. The schedule outlining meetings held is attached at Annexure 1 to this report. In each meeting, the PCT considers and gives effect to the resolution and recommendation of the CCT and the War Council. Provincial matters and process of other political matters, such as programs and activities, membership, deployment, which is covered separately below, and a range of other organizational matters. Section 1 of the EFF Constitution states that in its first meeting after being elected, the PCT shall elect 6 additional members of the PCT who, together with the chairperson, deputy chairperson, secretary, deputy secretary, and treasurer, should constitute the Provincial Coordinating Command, PCC. Accordingly, the PCT elected the following fighters to the PCC, as you see the names below. Accordingly, the PCC consists of 10 active members instead of 11 due to the resignation of the provincial chairperson. The PCC meets in order to attend and process matters relating to day-to-day running of the organization at the provincial level. 3, officials. For the reason outlined earlier, the composition of the officials has been reduced from 5 members to 4. The official met regularly in order to process matters of the organization which need their attention and implementation. Amongst these are aspects such as organizational discipline, intervention required, resolution from the upper structure, financial matters, and programs. Furthermore, officials attend press conferences and rallies as well as other mass gatherings, include addressing such gatherings and keeping the organizational decorum. Number 4, provincial office. 4.1, location, overall mission of the provincial office. The provincial office is in the nerve center of the EFF in Gauteng, located in the central business district of Johannesburg on a busy Commissioner and Simon Street. The office is easily accessible, central for organizational process. The location, while strategic, has few shortcomings, such as not being on the ground floor and the inability to maximize the traffic flow by putting up noticeable branding, since it's not on the first floor of the business of the building. However, the office is within a relative walking distance from the provincial legislature as well as the head office, thereby making it less burden for leadership to navigate. Also, despite the office not being on the ground floor, it has high influx of people attending daily to seek organizational intervention on matters such as labor issues, eviction, gender-based violence, and others asking to join the organization. This office opens 5 days a week, sometimes weekends when there are organizational programs. It operates with staff personnel of 6 people and volunteers. The office will sometimes be supplemented with the staff from the legislature during election programs and other national programs that are highly demanding. The role of this office has always been to support the work of the office, the secretariat, successful to run an administration of the organization on a daily basis. Each staff is designated to specific roles in the office, which is monitored by the office of the secretariat. These fighters will time to time compile their reports from the scope of operation as part of monitoring their work. As much as all the staff and personnel account to the office of the provincial secretary, these fighters will provide administrative support to the provincial committees like organizing these proceedings and elections. Moreover, the province office is able to fulfill its intended purpose not only by the interface between the people and the organization, but also in terms of being the hub for the organizational programs such as PCT meetings and effectively operating as volunteer center during election rallies and marches. 4.2, Constitutional Office. The provincial office consists of the following: Office of the Chairperson, Office of the Provincial Secretary, Office of the Treasurer. We now tend to deal with each office as is stated in the Constitution. 4.2.1, Office of the Provincial Chairperson. The Provincial Acting Chairperson is Commissar Itani Mukwebo. He is the party leader of the EFF in the provincial legislature, the head of the province governance task unit. In the provincial legislature, Commissar Mukwebo also sits in the Finance Portfolio Committee, which he has the mandate of overseeing service delivery and is tasked with the providing strategic leadership as well as oversight in the financial matters to ensure sustainable and inclusive economic development for our people of Gauteng. In the period under review, he participated in numerous oversight visits to hospitals across all the regions. Prior to this, he was deployed to Economic Development Committee, Environment and Agriculture, Rural Development Portfolio Committee in the legislature in 2019. Commissar Itani Mukwebo participated in various budget workshops and public hearings under the period under review. Between 2018 and 2022, Commissar Itani Mukwebo participated in various organizational programs, including presiding over meetings of the regions, addressing all rallies, and furthermore. He has participated in community-based programs such as interventions in Ikuruleni Ward 51, where there was a sewage problem for over 7 months. Through the organization intervention, the problem was swiftly resolved. At Fort Loras Police Station, Ward 112, he joined the picket which was against the increase in crime and noted. Commissar Itani Mukwebo participated in various interviews to articulate the organizational position on the range of issues such as the ruling party's land invasion prevention strategy. He also played a critical role in other matters of importance, such as the recent case which was opened against Gauteng Premier for flaunting supply chain management process following the 2IT technology saga. Another case was opened in Johannesburg Central Police Station in relation to the 125 million which was looted for COVID-19 funds, and numerous interventions were made. 4.2.2, Office of the Provincial Secretary. 4.2.2.1, the Provincial Secretary is Commissar Mushokoma. The Provincial Secretary is the custodian of the organizational record as well as policies in the province. He is tasked with administration in the province. The Provincial Secretary is assisted by a full-time provincial administrator by the name of Oscar Mashango. Moreover, the Provincial Secretary lays critical resolution of the organization to the regions, branches, and also convene the PCT as well as PCC meetings. The Provincial Secretary is also the custodian of membership in the province. A comprehensive membership report will be provided later in this report. The Provincial Secretary also oversees the following: number 1, election; 2, legal matters in the province, as well as organizing and mobilization. A detailed report of election as well as organizing is contained in paragraph 24. In enhancing the secretariat, which is the engine of the organization. In the period under review, the Provincial Secretary convened secretariat meetings attended by regional secretaries prior to the PCT meetings, and this has strengthened hegemony between regions and province. As constituency whip in the provincial legislature, the Provincial Secretary continued to conduct oversight and make intervention on matters affecting our communities. In 2021, Commissar Muchekoma donated sanitary towels to various communities around Gauteng, in Deep Sloot, and also in Tembisa in 2021. Between 2019 and 2021, as part of the standing in solidarity with families who lost fighters who served the organization with dedication and selflessness and humanity, the Provincial Secretary also gave each families of their loved ones each cow for their families. Provincial Secretary made donation to the non-profit organization which is committed to enhancing the lives and future of our children through reading. The non-profit entity purchased books which were kept in the library to assist the children. The Provincial Secretary led the march of ESCOM in 2021. The march was informed by the response to the incompetencies of power utility. As the conference deliberated on the matters of energy in the respective commissions, we must engage on the privatization of ESCOM and what is to be done on load shedding, which is killing businesses and already struggling economy. Furthermore, this year, the Provincial Secretary participated in intensified programs for allocation of over 1,500 houses communities of Sebokeng, Extension 28. This come after complaints of poor and inadequate house expressed their community members. In the year 2020, the Provincial Secretary conducted programs for donating school uniforms for disadvantaged students in Alexander and in Soweto. We now turn to deal with legal matters in the province which falls under the office of the Provincial Secretary. 4.2.2 Legal Office. In advancing its cause, the organization frequently finds itself in the legal arena, dealing with the responding of cases in courts, police stations, schools, government, department, and private facilities. While legal matters are under the custodian of the Provincial Secretary, Fighter Avel Banda is tasked with the legal matters in the province. Between 2020 and 2022, the organization spearheaded various legal matters, which included 2,386 physical and telephonic consultations to the general public on a wide range of the legal matters. A list of notable cases attended to. This is in Annexure 2. The legal office remains a critical operational feature of the organization in the sense that it deals with matters raised by the marginalized members of the public, assists our people for free of charge and without having to offer proof to membership. While this approach strains the resources, human, financial, and etc. of the organization, we are pleased that our efforts have inspired hope, justice, and change, especially for those who cannot acquire justice and did not have money. As it currently stands in the province under review, the legal office received 26 matters which were mostly resolved telephonically, escalated to volunteers at the regional level, and was able to successfully conclude 22. Currently, 4 matters are yet to be finalized. In holding those in public office accountable, the province have opened a number of cases relating to embezzlement and mismanagement of public funds. In April 2020, the Gauteng EFF MPLs opened a case of fraud against the MEC of Finance and E-Governance and the Premier for irregular awarding of more than 30 million tenders contract to TI Technologies. Another case of fraud was opened against the MEC of Health for irregular awarding of PPE contract to a family friends company, Royal Baka Projects. Further moved for MEC to step down, pending the SIU investigation onto his involvement in awarding of this contract. In the same year and month, April 2020, the EFF Johannesburg caucus opened a case at any daily police station against the mayor for illegal demolition of shacks and houses in Kokatela, informal settlement for contravention of lockdown regulations. Thereafter, on the 30th of April 2020, the EFF West Rand region opened a case at Krugersdorp police station against a white farmer in High Safari who derived farmers access to water by removing and destroying water tanks during lockdown. The EFF caucus in Influeni, Sidibeng region opened a case of fraud and corruption at Mafetsana police station against an ANC councillor who was selling fake operation permits to shop owners and saloon owners. The EFF caucus in Tshwane opened a case of corruption at Atteridgeville police station against ANC members who were distributing food parcels even though they were not employed as staff of Tshwane in the food bank. 4.3 Provincial Deputy Secretary. The Provincial Deputy Secretary is Fighter Khupele Hollo. He is part of the Provincial Secretariat, the head of labor desk in the province. The table below outlines the labor desk programs. Fighter Hollo is deployed in Western region. Furthermore, Fighter Hollo is the head of human resource in the province. The province currently has 21 employees who are spread across the province. There are only being 2 labor disputes between 2018 and 2022. The matters have been successfully finalized. Below is the table of the labor desk and marches and picket as it shows. 4.3 Office of the Provincial Treasurer. The Provincial Treasurer is Fighter Gitingi Mazi. The Provincial Treasurer is tasked with overseeing the financial administration of the province. This including fundraising, ensuring compliance and asset management. To fund the revolution is not an easy task. Because of this leftist nature of our party, those who associate us stand to lose tenders, financial opportunities from corporate capital. However, we salute all those who stood side by side with the organization and sponsored not only with money, gave their valuable time, offered hands when we had programs. In this course of this conference, we will receive the report from the Provincial Treasurer for the period under review. Number 5, portfolios of deployment. 5.1, importance as well as types of deployment. Deployment is a crucial feature of the organization's response to its calling and mandate. Through deployment, the organization is able to cluster various areas of life in order to foster liberation, given that we understand that oppression itself is multi-layered and spread to all areas of the marginalized life. Deployment for this purpose of this report refers only to deployment to communities, but also to deployment to regions which all PCT members are responsible for. 5.2, schedule of committees. The schedule below provides the list of committees as well as the names of the PCT members deployed to them, as you see the names and their committees below. 5.3, deployment reports. We now tend to deal with each of the deployment report received for the period under review. Communication. Communication is led by Fighter Philip Makwala. He is deployed in the committee. The committee has met 11 times in the period under review. The communication liaison officer managed to issue 65 media statements between 2018 and 2022. This covers the shack fires which were affected by Alexander and other areas of discrimination against workers, the Fatal Mountain View train crash, and numerous other pressing matters. Radio interviews were also secured for various major radio shows such as Lesedi FM, Power FM, and SABC. Sports, arts, and culture. Fighter Azuchi Tangalo is deployed to the committee. The committee is tasked in line with the complementary pillar number 5 of the EFF, which amongst others is to deal with the excessive amounts of Western culture and artistic propaganda, which turns our people into acoustic and cultural extension of the West. The committee thrives to cultivate culture of embodying African culture and arts. Further, it advocates that sport participation should be compulsory in all schools and should be underpinned by sports diversification, and particularly in schools where the majority of the peoples are Africans. Fighter Azuchi Tangalo constituted a committee comprising of 6 members. In 2018, the committee held strategic meetings to devise of a POA during 2019 prior COVID-19 pandemic. The following engagements were held with Department of Basic Education to deal with the school sports. Gauteng Sports Confederation, who needs intervention, that more sports facilities are needed, especially in township and informal settlement, that the Gauteng Department of Schools should be engaged to sponsor these tournaments. Further, various meetings with musicians and associates were held, and the outcome, which was the artists needed more regulated industry to protect their music against piracy, exploitation by record label companies, and that there should be more support from the government. That was raised sharply. The engagement resulted in EFF caucus in Gauteng legislature, sponsoring 5 questions and 3 member statements, resulting in intervention of the department, and intervention were made. At the beginning of 2020, the committee also held community oversight meeting with Mpumelelo community in Devon, where the committee asked us to intervene for their library to be open. This was escalated to Department of Sports, and the MEC was questioned. In 2021, the committee managed to meet with Olive and Bosch community, which raised the shortage of books and the library buildings not being user-friendly for people with disability. Further met with Wipatong community and made an oversight at the library, which never opened since it was built. In 2022, the committee had various meetings and intervened where monies that were meant for musicians were squandered. Apart from this deployment, Fighter Azuchi Tangale has been deployed to Sidibeng in 2018 and in 2019 to Ikuruleni during the build-up towards 2019 election. He is currently deployed in Tshwane. He has adopted Glen Vista Primary School in Johannesburg, where he donates school shoes, sanitary towels every year. He has also adopted Lananda Clinic and Ekenhof Day Center, where he provides grocery from time to time. C, higher education. Fighter Kolega Manju is deployed to Higher Education Committee. The committee is tasked to ensure free, quality, and well-resourced education. The committee purpose is to act in the interest of the students in Gauteng universities, colleges. The aim is to promote academic and research excellence. The committee's role is to actively participate in the role of transforming higher education and furthermore providing access to higher education for deprived students, principally from the disadvantaged backgrounds. In 2019, the committee led the program of distribution of sanitary towel to TVS. The committee organized continuous programs of action for registration of NSFAS on financial excluded students. As part of this deployment, Fighter Kolega Manju has always been deployed in Johannesburg region during the period of 2018 to 2019, January. The PCT member was then deployed to Sidibeng region in 2019 thus far. On the 26th of April 2019, the deploy was part of the march to steer giant ArcelorMittal in Van der Bay under the theme of our land and jobs now. In the same packetable, the deploy was part of organizing the EFF Women's March on the 18th of April in 2019. During the 2019 election, the deploy represented the EFF by being one of the panelists in the radio station hosted by Kaya FM. During the period of 2019 and 2021 election, the deploy was actively based in Imfulweni sub-region, Sidibeng region. Between 2018 and 2021, the deploy adopted 2 primary schools, Tembebile Primary Schools, Tusom Primary School. Wherefore, at every beginning of the year, school shoes and uniforms were donated to underprivileged peoples Throughout 2018 and 2022, the deployee has participated in all by-elections where she was deployed to. Environment. Fighter Malesela Letoaba is deployed to Environment Subcommittee. The subcommittee is tasked with ensuring that the sector is able to come forth with ideas, possible solutions to enable free environmental spaces in the country at large, particularly in the Gauteng province. In 2020, the basic task team was formed to do baseline studies throughout the province, aiming to collect data that will explain the cause of high level of containment land and air pollution in the province, and to gather stakeholders that are actively working to address such matters. The subcommittee forms part of the several dialogues, visual and physical meetings, roundtable activities that aim to understand the depth of global warming at an international scale that derive from the COP 17, 20 and 22. Which were the spaces where most of the civil organizations, churches, government officials came together to unpack the possible solution regarding environmental matters. During the pandemic, the climate change proved that as a country we were ticking bomb times. In the most of the community meetings, different community forums elaborated practical disaster that they experienced on a daily basis. E.g., the containment of Val Dam in Fuleni community, Sibian region. Number 2, sinkholes that bother communities daily, Western region and Igorleni region. 3, most of the township that experiences sewage blockage in Johannesburg region. 4, the illegal mines and dam mines that affect communities in Western region and Johannesburg region. 5, parts of the peril rural areas experience drought, for example, Johannesburg, example, Tshwane region. All these are the impact of global warming and climate change that result to our society to suffer. During the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the regulation compelled people to change their way of living. There was a high demand for good hygiene, keeping to safe social distance, but because of the overall crowding in the most areas, no access to clean running water, this proved to be a challenge for most communities to access such basic needs. The people lost their lives and livestock and were unable to access healthy food that could assist them to fight COVID-19 due to the job cuts, unemployment, families that relied on social grants. The expensive energy generated by Eskom burning of coal is not the solution. Communities demand a clean, cheap, reliable alternative on energy, clean and safe water, clean and safe air, clean and safe place to stay. This combined affect society well-being. As of 2022 to date, Fighter Malesela Letoaba, as the chairperson of the subcommittee, was able to encourage the team to continue doing research which will assist the country with the aim of supporting the idea of creating 1 million climate jobs. The progress of the country to achieving safe environment and clean air and clean, cheap, reliable alternative energy relies on the government, as studies and research by both the economists and environmental development specialists shows it is long overdue that we do think differently to create more climate change related jobs in terms of saving our environment. Health. Fighter Solumi Kiza was first deployed to head the mining committee and then later redeployed to head the health committee in the province. The health committee is tasked by the cardinal pillar which seeks to advance free quality health care. The committee has conducted oversight on the health department in the province by being in contact with communities in clinics and hospitals. During the term of the elections of leadership in 2018, the organization had already declared the year as the year of public health, where the EFF marched to all hospitals across the province and region to demand better health care services. Post-2018, the office continued with programs leading to marches to Or Tambo Memorial Hospital, Betha Koa Hospital, Telamu Khwereng Hospital in Nikurlene, as well as the Tabong Hospital, and received reports through the office of the Provincial Secretary of all the activities. The office became overwhelmed and having a great deal to do due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This required leaders from the levels of the organization on the ground to be with the masses regardless of the fears around the virus. Public representatives had to do oversight and the committee intervened where required. Among the interventions seen was that the committee visited health institutions to attend to complaints, challenges faced by communities during this time, and the working conditions of healthcare workers who had no protective equipment. The Provincial Health Department embarked on a process to receive primary health care services from municipality to the provincial sphere of government, which resulted in many challenges that affected service delivery, required intervention of the committee. This committee, self-service dispensary machines of chronic illness patients, to lack of service of machines and loading of machines, registration of healthcare staff in the clinics to provincial payroll, dispatch on ambulances on time due to the pandemic working in new areas, and the release of resources to the provincial without compensation where some of the climax attended to. The committee intervened mostly through public representatives of the EFF. As regards to deployment, Fighter Solomon Kiza was deployed in Johannesburg region and later deployed in Western region from July 2021 to date. At the time Fighter Solomon Kiza was deployed in Johannesburg region, he participated in organizing and leading all EFF programs carried out in the region. One of the outstanding programs was in 2019 general election, where was witnessed the growth in electoral result in sub-region A and the by-election in Ward 130, where he has deployed with CCT deployees and the collective leadership of Johannesburg region, as well as branches. In 2021, the local government election, Fighter Solomon Kiza was redeployed to Ekurhuleni South sub-region, where the organization held its Selatu rally in Katlego. This is where the EFF witnessed significant growth in election results, thanks to the battalion led and coordinated by the leadership. F. Political education. Fighter Papi Machide is the head of political education in Gauteng province, tasked with educating the fighters in the structures of the organization on the following. Number one, the founding manifesto of the EFF as adopted by the First National People's Assembly, the constitution of the EFF and the Revolutionary Code of Discipline. 3, the branch induction manual as well as the responsibility of branches and its office bearers. To this end, the core principle is to improve the ideological and political reasoning ability of fighters in understanding the importance of political tolerance, interpretation of the EFF documents, while gearing up to consolidation of the ground towards social power. The establishment of political school in the province was firstly introduced in the UNISA Tshwane in collaboration with the EFF structures student command in 2018, whose desire was to promote continuous improvement of political expediency on the issues affecting students in the tertiary institutions in Gauteng. This was followed by the series of political lectures in most institutions of higher learning, in partnership with the Political Education Desk founded prior 2019. It will be recalled that this was an admitted national and provincial election where the primary focus was activating new voters to support the EFF. That on its own saw an improvement in the electorate supporting the EFF in Gauteng. Working close with this political head of Gauteng, the head of political education led a number of consulting meetings in Gauteng in the following areas: in Sandton Convention Center, Johannesburg, with Black academics; Beachwood Hotel, Akurun, with Black Business Council; 3, Protea Hotel, Parktone, Johannesburg, with EFF unemployed graduates; As a result of such activities were saw staggering growth of EFF voters in 2013 to just over 700,000 in 2021. In 2019, the office continued to hold political workshops in all the regions in Gauteng, either through invitation from clusters or direct interaction with fighters in sub-regions by observing and commemorating particular days on our calendar, such as Women's Day. In 2021, most regions in the country went through Regional People's Assembly, including the 5 regions of Gauteng. Immediately after that, the regional political education portfolios led by the head of the political education in the regions were set out to continue to conduct regional programs. Over and above the portfolios of political education, by Papi Machide is deployed in Johannesburg region, where he served with previous regional leadership and the incumbent leadership of Johannesburg region. The deployment successes include the following: the EFF All Women's March in 2019, GPV March conducted in all sub-regions 2018, Infrastructure and Service Delivery March protests against both the ruling party and the opposition-led government in the city of Johannesburg, commemoration of June 16 massacre. 5, donation of blankets, food parcel, clothes, sanitary towels. This initiative continues. Donation of building materials for victims of Alexander Fire disasters, hosting on behalf of National Successful 2019 Siyabonga Rally at the Orlando Stadium. G, water and sanitation. Fighter Non-Tandla Khatev is deployed to Water and Sanitation Committee. The committee is tasked with identifying community challenges relating to water and sanitation. For example, unbleached toilets, blocked sewages systems, water tanks, taps, especially in informal settlement. In essence, the task involves ensuring there is clean water within our communities. In 2018, we have provided the committee of Ward 68 in Zamimpule informal settlement and Ward 82, Kathranda informal settlement with over 60 flushing toilet and taps. After the community had picketed and shut down the Busy Man Reef Road for service delivery. In 2020, during COVID-19, we have assisted the committee of Mukokotlong informal settlement, Ward 5 in Orange Farm with 20 water tanks and 22 unbleached toilets. In 2021, the committee of Ward 78, Dalimpof informal settlement received water tanks. The committee also assisted with block services system in Region D, Deep Blue region, and Region F, Hillbrow. Apart from her deployment to the Water and Sanitation Committee, Fighter Non-Tandla Khatev has assisted workers at KSS Call Center, ISO Foods ShopRite, and SPAR in Johannesburg with salary disputes. The only case still pending with Labour Court in ISO Foods is one. All the other matters were resolved. Fighter Non-Tandla Khatev also assisted community members whenever there is illegal eviction and has been working with the zonal task team in Region F under Sergeant Mayor of Hillbrow Police Station. The intervention in the program conducted has assisted hundreds of evicted committee members. Social development. Fighter Liza Poko is deployed to the Social Development Committee. A member of this committee are expected to provide social protection services, facilitating fruitful partnership to better the lives of vulnerable individual groups, communities, and development of themselves in a society. A few years ago, there were blocks of flats that were built by government at Layville Extension 45 as part of the reconstruction of development program. Before they could finish flats, a group of disabled people came in numbers and illegally occupied one of the units as part of showing desperation for adequate accommodation. The committee heard and ground forces heard about this issue at the time when plans to evict them on their way. They went and assessed the situation, reported the matter to the EFF Provincial Office requesting assistance in terms of legal intervention. Indeed, the lawyers were allocated And in 2019, the matter was won through the courts. The 72 people living with disability were given temporary accommodation. In addition, during the process, the committee head, Fighter Mamlaza, fed the legit case with breakfast, lunch, and supper. In the above-mentioned group of disabled people, there was a mother who was disabled, who had a disabled daughter. Her daughter was 19-year-old with a rare condition of not being able to grow. In cheering the teenager and her mother, the committee organized 21st birthday celebration for her in 2019. The event was celebrated with gender committee in Nkuruleni as well, was well received by the child and the family and the community at large. In early 2018, parents expressed frustration with Olivefontein Primary School, which could not take their children due to the capacity limits given by the Department of Education and other schools, where the parents were referred to fire especially for grade 1's learners. The committee challenged the Department of Education regarding this matter until all the 35 learners were admitted by the schools. As part of the mobile classes in the same year, the following year, the 5 more classes were built by the Department of Education after experiencing some problems. The capacity of the school is now, as we speak, sitting at 1,800, moving from 1,050, all thanks to the intervention of the committee. In the same year, the committee head came across family in Nkuruleni, which was experiencing domestic violence issues. The father of the children decided to sell a family house without telling his wife. He took the money, disappeared. The wife only learned about the incident when the sheriff of the court came with the eviction letter. The wife and kids were thrown out of the house, having nowhere to go, and the house was demolished. The committee head and the ground forces took it upon themselves to fight for this battle. The community members were mobilized to block the people who wanted to move into the property. We made sure that the wife and the children received temporary accommodation while the ground forces and the community members rebuilt the house. It took them 2 months to rebuild, and they were able to hand over the family home to the rightful owners. Furthermore, in 2018, a farmer decided to evict his employees residing in his farm, saying that he wants to utilize the place they were staying in. The problem was that he had to arrange alternative accommodation for them. The committee went and negotiated with the farmer to purchase the property for the people and divide it accordingly. The farmer agreed with the help of his lawyers, and everything went according to plan. During the COVID-19 pandemic time, the committee and Clayville Development Committee did a door-to-door at Ward 1 and other wards. In the process of the door-to-door, they learned that there's some households that in that ward are struggling to earn mean owing to loss of unemployment caused by the pandemic. We took it upon ourselves to ask donation from the local business so that there can be packages, food parcels for those families. The campaign resulted in 34 families benefiting from the intervention. The old woman was chained in her bed not being cared for properly. This complaint came to fighter Mela Zapoko, who, together with the ground forces, negotiated with the hospital management, and however, their cry landed on the deaf ears. They decided to involve the MMC, who came and assisted in resolving this matter. Numerous and other interventions were made in the period under review, including assisted students at Ekurhuleni West College with registration, outstanding fees, arranging food parcels, running kitchen soap, assisting families to bury their loved ones after losing the COVID-19, launching branches in Tshwane, and also pushing for the old age home not to be closed in 2021. Fighter Mela Zapoko is deployed in Tshwane region, in addition deployed to the committee. Safety and security. Fighter Violet Matabo is deployed to lead safety. The team is tasked with ensuring the deployment and strategic advantage of safety and security at the provincial level. In 2018, the safety team attended CIC case at Randburg Magistrate Court following the accusation of assaulting the Provincial Police Johannes van Ter during Mama Winnie's funeral. Fighter Violet Matabo was therefore deployed as a provincial organizer. In this role, in 2019, she was part of the preparation team for the launch of the manifesto launch at Giant Stadium. She participated in preparation towards the CIC appearance court at Silverton Hawks. She attended the memorial service of President Robert Mugabe, also attended the shocking Dross rape case in period under the review. She was later deployed to professionals' portfolios. There was being no activity done under the portfolio of professionals. Transport. Fighter Mambur is deployed to Transport Committee. Transport plays a critical role in ensuring the movement of the people and goods within the province. Transport cars across all sectors and areas of life. The committee consists of 6 members. In 2019, the committee participated in the Provincial Public Transport in Bizo, organized by the provincial legislature, and the purpose was to find common ground between taxi operators and BRT. The committee had an oversight visit at Jameson Taxi Rank in 2019, and this was to assess the infrastructure and the state of the taxi rank. Similarly, in 2021, an oversight visit was done on Oakmore train station and taxi rank to assess the damage due to vandalism during the COVID lockdown. In 2021, Marlborough License Center was visited following allegations of corruption in the licensing process. In the same year, an oversight visit at Brakpan Bus Company Depot was conducted following the reports of nepotism raised by workers in the depot. Numerous marches and other mass mobilization programs were rolled out and participated between 2018 and 2022. Economic development. Fighter Sarah Maluleke is deployed in Economic Development Committee. The committee is tasked to mainly ensure that there is a transformation of economy of Gauteng and the economic space in observing all economic personnel to play their part in the province, and more especially to cater for poor, marginalized, downgraded people of Gauteng can participate in the province economy. Since the establishment of the committee, it has held 12 meetings, and since 2018 until 2022, with the program of action from the regions of the province as detailed below. In Ekurhuleni site visit on the 20th of March 2019, the initiation of formalization of Ward 97 Brockpan old location in a building house, access electricity, clean water, sanitation in order to irrigate the toilet bucket system and fixing roads. This was done to create jobs for locals to participate in the economy of the city of Ekurhuleni, while allocation of houses for residents is done in the plots which they demarcated through formalization of the township. In West Rand site visit, visiting all projects by 11th of December 2021 to ensure and adhere all projects comply to conditions that tabled in their work contract that are given by 3 local municipalities, namely Mogale City, Rand West, Merafongs City, under Western Region and District Municipality. Sidibeng site visit. visiting all the projects by 24th of February 2022 to ensure and adhere that projects comply to conditions that are tabled in their work contract that given by 3 local municipalities, namely Midval, Imfulweni, Lesedi, under the Sidibeng District Municipality. Tshwane site visit. Visiting all projects by 25th of June 2022 to ensure that and to adhere that all project comply conditions are tabled in their work and contract that are given by the city of Tshwane. Johannesburg site visit. Active formalization of Dalimpov River Bank informal settlement in Tembisa, clean water, remove basket system and fixing roads. This will create jobs to locals as well. On the 20th of March 2022, the initiation to formalization of Dalimpov and River Bank informal settlement in Tembisa to build houses, access to electricity, clean water, and sanitation in order to irrigate toilet bucket system and fixing roads. This was done to create jobs for locals to participate in the economy of the city of Johannesburg, where the allocation of housing for residents is done in the plots which they demarcated through formalization of townships. Gender. Fighter Beverly Bendenhorst is deployed to the committee and is deployed to oversee gender-based violence-related matters in the province. The committee is responsible for taking care of vulnerable women and children as well as the LGBTQ plus generation who are subjected to rape, murder, abuse, while the police are there to assist and guide such sensitive cases. They have failed our communities this month. The committee leader has had several debates with the police social development about the horrendous crimes, yet the wheels of justice are very slow. There has been numerous cases of murder, rape, abuse in the communities, and the court cases have been attended by Fighter Beverly to boycott bail and insist on harsh sentence. The EFF has attended many areas, amongst them Bronkhorstspruit, Hammanskraal, Soshanguve, Atteridgeville, Soweto, Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg CBD to deal court cases. One of the greatest accomplishment case seen in the Dross rape case, where Nino was sentenced to life imprisonment and tried to appeal the sentence but rejected after sexually assaulted a child. The Chirofazepule case was world news, where the murderer was sentenced 20 years imprisonment and the mastermind was sentenced for life. Hilary Gadi, one of our own, was also murdered and killed in Mpumalanga, and the committee continues in monitoring the case. The committee played a central role in the women-only march, which was held in the Constitutional Court. Thousands of women joined hands to petition for education of judges as a regard of handling sexual offenses cases. A woman and her child were evicted from her house in Rossittenville in 2021 and had no place to go. The committee found shelter for her and the children. In Esteras, people were subjected to inhuman housing conditions, which meant they must pay exorbitant amounts. The committee leader intervened and they were afforded housing by the municipality. There was an incident of an old lady who was chained to bench of chairs at Mamelodi Hospital. The committee went and investigated the matter until human rights took over the matter. They summoned the Department of Health to compensate the victim. The committee had JBV pickets in front of Mamelodi Police Station in November 2019 with EFF leaders, women and men, because of the oppressive nature of the justice system. Numerous other marches and protests and pickets were held in the period under review. Land and housing. Fighter Levan Soul is deployed to the Committee of Land and Housing. The committee stands to ensure that discontinued ownership of land by few, and that Gauteng land is owned by all people of Gauteng through the principle of progressive state custodianship of land. to also distribute land in a manner that is democratically representative, meaning that black people accordingly control most of the land as they constitute the majority in Gauteng and South Africa as a whole. The committee consists of 4 members and numerous volunteers. Across the province, the committee has held 12 meetings under the period under review to discuss, among other things, expropriation of unused land in the surrounding areas without compensation, property rates to be decreased, and helping Tate Sotetsi in Niger from being evicted from his farm by Department of Land and Reform, amongst other issues. The committee has expropriated unused land in the surrounding areas without compensation, particularly as some Zitobeni, Brongol, Horsespread, Laughter's Gardens, and Attridgeville. It has also decreased property rates in Johannesburg, Vodacom Building, and Hatfield Station. Fighters, we need to emphasize on the existence and activeness of this committee on the ground, as it does in this province. We might not be replicate all committees, but some can be combined to accommodate PCT members. This committee bring life to structures and bring activism. They make structures to reach to sectors and segments on sections in the scope of operation. In this case, it will be communities and our wars. Furthermore, this committee gives structure purposes of existence. Imagine if branches has such committees as mentioned above. Being active, we will have branches that understand the dynamics of their wars. There will be no squabbles at the branches because focus will be on these activities. The most importantly, the EFF will be highly recognized. Fighters, this is what the society wants. They want these structures to resolve their problems on being seen doing something about their problems, even if you will not succeed, but for the fact that you have done something about the issue, the society will be happy. Six, membership. Membership is the heart of the organization's existence. For this reason, Section 4 of our Constitution outlines the importance and relevance of membership. The section spells out the eligibility criteria for being a member of the EFF, sets out the values, principles which must guide a fighter, provides the declaration for joining as a member, and also outline prohibited behaviors. Prior to this PPA, the organization did not have fully-fledged watertight membership system. Most membership was captured manually. This presented number of shortcomings in our membership database. For example, it was difficult to verify when a person had lapsed and was therefore due to renewal, where there were delays in printing membership cards, and there were also membership duplication. In 2020, the organization rolled out a new and dynamic membership system. The system is an online system, therefore reduced much of the cumbersome processes which we were driving forces in the old ways of processing membership. Suddenly, we could now detect if a person is applying for a membership twice or when their membership is due, even when to verify if they are registered to vote. Moreover, the processing and printing of membership cards become more quicker and efficient. In 2018 PPA, the membership stood at 50,925. Now it sits at 137,242 members. This represents an increase of 170% compared to 2018. The table below outlines the current membership of the province per regions, as per the below table. From the table above, it is clear that the Johannesburg region has the highest membership, while Siriben region has the lowest membership, while in comparison, it may have its limitation because the regions are not in the same size geographically and nor do they have the same number of residents. The comparison does not remind us that there is still a room for growth, and that there's still a need for work on the membership recruitment. The organization has set out a target of 1 million membership national, and a third of 231,000 membership, of which must be secured by Gauteng. From the table above, it is clear that the organization has reached more than 137,000, and the target will soon be reached by Gauteng province. The demarcation of 2022 as the year of branches led much in this imperative call on all to continue reliance society under the banner of the EFF. All branches gathered here represent by their respective delegates the rightful owners of this organization. It is therefore incumbent on all of us to ensure that the membership figures presented here while we presenting it to spike membership continues to grow beyond this PPA. Despite the positive growth of the membership, we need to take note that some of the observations that made us to be where we are were in relation to the 1 million membership campaign. Fighters, we know ourselves. This is a small task to meet. Our provincial target is to go beyond our target. It is, but we need to ensure that the membership must be in the office of the EFF, not anywhere else. Recruitment programs should be done with the acknowledgement of structures on the ground. Ensure that membership submissions go through branch secretaries, because that's how it should be. Let's be members of the EFF and be guided by the principles of the EFF. 7, state of the province. The EFF is present and active in Gauteng. An assessment will indicate all regions have held regional people's assemblies and elected leadership. The regional command teams have an intact composition and members who are active. Furthermore, all regions have PCT deployed so as to ensure both oversight and clear line of communication between the regions and the province. Reports from the region also indicate that all regions have regional offices as well as social media presence. On major social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter. Fighters, we must not underestimate the power of social media in the current world order. Through social media, we are able to agitate, educate not only members but broader society, and we are able to rally behind the EFF ban. Reports we have received also indicate that regions have participated in the national elections, local government elections, by-elections in the period under review. Through the numbers indicate that we will have a lot of work to do. First, in terms of encouraging people to register to vote. Secondly, convincing them to vote for the EFF. As much more detailed report on the election will be provided later in this report. While the report on the organization and mobilization has already been alluded to, we must salute regions for being on the ground, organizing their own programs of action in order to confront challenges particular of their regions. This mass-based program point to the spirit of activism, dedication on the part of our members, and also foresight as well as the wisdom from the regional leaders who coordinated these programs. Moreover, reports from the region indicate that the organization have representation at the provincial as well as the regional level through MPLs and councillors. We encourage all public representatives to continue being the voice of our people on the matters affecting their lives and to stand side by side with those who are oppressed in speaking the truth to power. We will later in this report provide you with governance highlights pertaining to the organization's involvement and participation in the provincial legislature, municipality council and metros. We now turn to deal with the reports from the regions in the sequence below. 7.1, Ekurhuleni region. The last Regional People's Assembly was held on the 19th of June 2021 at R Tambo Premier Hotel. The regional chairperson is Fighter Nkoleka Dunga, and the regional secretary is Fighter Mandla Moloko. The table below outlines the elected leadership for the period under review. The regional command team consists of 21 members, and 20 members are active. Between 2028 and 2022, the RCT has held 32 ordinary physical meetings and 6 visual meetings and 21 special meetings. The PCT deployees to region are Commissar Itane Mukwebo, Fighter Ruth Munisi, and Leboan Soul. The regional office is located at 32 Ozen Street, Georgetown, Jimiston. The region has 5 sub-regions and 112 IEC wards. The region has 35,000 members in good standing. The region has a total population of 3.9 million people. In 2019 national and provincial election, out of the 1.6 million registered voters, the region received 156,000 votes. In 2021 local municipality, out of 1.5 registered voters, the region received 181,964 votes. Between the last PPA and this PPA, the region has participated in 12 by-elections. The region has 31 peer councillors, and of these 16 are males and 15 are females. The regional chairperson articulates the organizational position on the matters that led the region on the social media presence following platform Facebook with 4,900 followers, Twitter with 13,300 followers. The region has issued 67 media statements since 2018. This covers aspects such as governance, social ills, political positioning of the EFF on matters affecting the region. Between 2018 and 2022, the region convened second regional planners. Between 2018 and 2022, the region has held various organization programs, and among these are as follows. As you go down, you'll see. 7.2, Johannesburg region. The last regional People's Assembly was held on the 26th of June 2021 at Ortambo Premier Hotel. The regional chairperson is Fighter Spedlele Rasirute, and the acting secretary is Fighter Moshem Pahle. The table below outlines the elected leadership. The regional command team consists of 24 members, and all these 24 members are active. Between 2018 and 2022, the RCT have held 111 meetings. The PCT deployee to region of Johannesburg is Commissar Moshe Koma, Fighter Beverly Pendenhorst, Fighter Papi Machite, and Fighter Sarah Malulek. The regional office is located at 84 Market Street, Marshalltown, Johannesburg. The region has 7 sub-regions and 135 IEC wards. The region has 42,935 members in good standing. The region has a total population of 4.7 million people, and in 2019 national and provincial election, out of 2.2 million people registered voters, the region received 220 votes. In total, in 2021 local municipality election, out of the 2.2 registered voters, the region received 102 votes. Between the last PPA and this PPA, the region participated in 16 by-elections. The region has 29 peer councillors, and of these 17 are males and 12 are females. The regional chairperson continues to articulate the organizational position on the matters, and the region has social media presence on the following platform: Facebook, 3,400 followers; Instagram, 1,228 followers; Twitter, with 2,584 followers; TikTok, with 15,300 followers. The region has issued 365 media statements since 2018, and this covers aspects such as land, housing issues, labor-related, electricity, infrastructure concerns. Between 2018 and 2022, the region has convened 3 regional planners, namely in 2018, 2019, 2022. In 2020 and 2021, the region was unable to convene plenum due to COVID-19 and its regulations. Between 2018 and 2022, the region had held various organizational programs, and amongst those are as listed. 7.3, Sidibeng region. The last regional People's Assembly was held on the 20th of June 2021, and the assemblies of court made val. The regional chairperson is fighter as a Kitika, and the regional secretary is fighter Sean Mohon. The table below outlines the elected leadership for the period under review. The regional command team consists of 20 members, and all 20 members are active. Between 2018 and 2022, the RCT has held 109 meetings. The PCT deploys to the regional office Sidibeng is fighter Gitingi Mazwi, Koleka Manju, Mambur, fighter Belinda Shukwan. The regional office is located at 84 Street, Protrust Building, Vanderbilt Park. The region has 3 sub-regions and 73 IEC wards. The region has 11,003 members in good standing. The region has a total population of 848,000 people. And in 2019 national and provincial election, out of 290 registered voters, the region received 43,717 votes. In 2021 local election, out of the total of 346,000 registered votes, the region received 56,222 votes. Between the last PPA and in 2018 and this PPA, the region has participated in 4 by-elections. The region has 23 PR councillors, and of these 11 are males and 12 are females. The regional chairperson articulates the organizational position on the matters, and the region has a social media presence on the following platform: Facebook, 5,900 followers; Twitter, 11,500 followers. The region has issued 50 media statements since 2018, and this covered aspects of service delivery and in the district and sports facilities and unemployment. Between 2018 and 2022, the region has convened 2 regional plenums between 2018 and 2022. The region has held various organizational programs. Among these are the following, as listed. 7.4, Tshwane region. The last regional People's Assembly was held on our Tambo Premier Hotel on the 15th of August 2021. The regional chairperson is Fighter Obaken Ramabodu, and the acting secretary is Fighter Chokofach Mashabe. The table below outlines the elected leadership for the period under review. The PCT deployees to the region of Tshwane is Commissar Moshe Koma, Commissar Mamrinelo Mashabela, as well as Fighter Philip Magwala, Azuchi Tangalo, Mamala Ezapo. The regional office is located at 362 Pretoria Street, Tshwane CBT. The region has 6 sub-regions and 107 IEC wards. The region has 34,689 members in good standing. The region has a total population of 2.7 million people, and in 2019 national and provincial elections, out of 1.5 million registered voters, the region received 155 votes. In the 2021 local government election, out of the 1.5 million registered voters, the region received 73,600 votes on the ward ballot. Between the last PPA and in 2018 and this PPA, the region has participated in 12 by-elections. The region has 23 PR councillors. Of these, 15 are males and 8 are females. The regional chairperson continues to articulate the organizational position on all matters, and the region has a social media presence in the following platform: Facebook with 7,500 followers, Twitter account with 31,500 followers. The regional chairperson articulates the organizational position on all matters of the region and has issued 52 media statements between 2021 and 2022, and this includes the call to immediate resignation of the executive mayor due to the mingling in the city administration. and insourcing of security guards, cleaners, reinstatement of fixed-term contract. The EFF in Tswane has also publicly condemned the illegal outsourcing of metro police functions to white capital groups. Between 2018 and 2022, the region has convened 2 regional planners. In the period under review, the region has held various organizational programs, and among these are as follows, as they are listed. 7.5, Western Region. The last Regional People's Assembly was held on the 15th of August 2021 at Ortambo Premier Hotel. The regional chairperson is Fighter Tumimu Lusi and the regional secretary is Fighter Mansadi Telem. The table below outlines the elected leadership for the period under review. The regional command team consists of 16 members and 15 members are inactive. Between 2018 and 2022, the RCT has held 99 meetings. The PCT deploys to region are Commissar Matabule Suisa, Fighter Malesela Tuaba, Solim Kize, and Lebonso. The regional office is located at 11 Fountain Plaza Main Reef Road, Randfontein. The region has 3 sub-regions and 102 IEC wards. The region has 13,613 members in good standing. The region has a total population of 922,000. And in 2019 national and provincial election, out of 482 registered voters, the region received 41,697. In the 2021 local and government election, out of the total of 415 registered voters, the region received 26,014 votes. Between the last PPA and this PPA, the region has participated in 5 by-elections. The region has 38 PR councillors, and of these, 17 are males and 21 are females. The regional chairperson articulates the organizational position on all matters, and the region has a social media presence on the following platform: Facebook with 320 followers, Twitter with 369 followers, and the region has issued 18 media statements since 2018. And this covers the aspect of racism in schools, farms, killing of gelatin, and illegal mining. Between 2018 and 2022, the region has convened 2 regional plenums. In the period under review, the region has held various organizational programs. Among these are as they follow. 8. Programs and organizational activities. The provincial organizers for Tantabisen Timpane, as of 2021, prior to 2021, role was performed by Fighter Belinda Shikwane, and before that, after Fighter Violet Matabo. The function of organizing and mobilizing report to the provincial secretariat is an important branch of the organization's strategic coordination. Through mass mobilization, the organization is able to deepen its roots in the society, where addressing injustices through programs such as rallies, pickets, and protests. Our founding manifesto is clear that we will contest political power because we are guided by a firm belief that we need political power in order to capture the state and then transform the economy for the emancipation of black South Africans, especially Africans. The forms in which we have committed to contest political power will from time to time be reviewed in light of the prevailing circumstances, but the primary of the mass organization and activity as means of raising the political consciousness of the people will remain the backlog of our political practice. Therefore, we have to undertake that we will be involved in mass movements, community protests that seeks to betterment of our people's lives. We have promised South Africa and the world that we will associate with the movements and demand land through land occupation aimed at making the message clear that people do need land. We have even went as far as saying that we will support all trade unions and workers that stand up in demand of better working conditions and salaries whenever they do so. To this end, we will not be bound by the narrow alliance of loyalty that compromises the interest of the workers just because they are in different trade unions. Our pursuit of basic demand of the Freedom Charter is encountered in the forms of the organization that is a working class and indeed black people. may fashion be in the course of struggle. In other words, alliances and other forms of the organizations are relevant to extend that to maximize our march towards realizing the vision outlined in the Freedom Charter in pursuit of the economic freedom in our lifetime. To this end, the province have held 2 plenums and lived up to its implementation and the provincial programs of action. To this regard, the province has held over 20 provincial mass activities, of which were provincial programs, on its own initiation. These programs range from mass protests, branch regions, provincial rallies, commemorative days, the most significant, and this includes 8.1. In 2019, the resolution was taken by the Gauteng Provincial Command Team that protesting against the illegal building demolition that happened in Alexander by the city of Johannesburg, the Gauteng Province leadership had to address the people of Alexander what must happen moving forward. In the same year, massive women-only march to the Constitutional Court calling for the justice and magistrate to train in handling sexual offences cases, and memorandum was handed over to the Constitutional Court management. Furthermore, realizing the role played by the elders in guiding and supporting us, in 2019, we conducted a program whereby we called senior citizens of Soweto, provided them with blankets. Effort was much welcomed by elders of Soweto residents as the winter was approaching and the district took care of our people. 8.2, in the beginning of 2020, the province successfully held its first plenum for the period under review. The plenum consolidated an immediate point of action which needed to be confronted and accordingly resolved on progressive programs of action. Unfortunately, soon thereafter, the country was placed on a national lockdown which never been seen before. Owing to the restriction, we were placed on the movement and mass gatherings. The programs of action had to be put on hold. This seriously impacted on the organizational ability to execute these programs. Despite this organization, rallies and mobilized ground forces to join programs which were held visually during the lockdown. Among this was the program which political education sessions, visual rallies, June 16 and May Day rallies. Moreover, in 2020, just prior to the national lockdown, the province organized a massive march to Clover, SA as part of the province Labour Day's mandate in solidarity with the workers. 8.3, with the easing of lockdown restrictions on gatherings in public spaces, the organization convened various programs, small and massive, from time to time during 2021. In May 2021, the organization saw the consolidation of workers and the unemployed in 2 May rally in Nikurleni, Tshwane region on Workers' Day. The commemoration were reminded of Karl Marx's call for workers in the world to unite against capitalism. Fighters. It is for this reason that at the outset, our founding manifesto stated that our indication of the continued economic domination of the people of South Africa and the extreme exploitation of black working class explains where we come from, where we are, what our mission is, and what the character is, what is to be done to emancipate the black people of South Africa and the working class in particular from economic bondages. This goes on the stage, and the solution we provide represent the coherent ideological tradition. We draw inspiration from the developments around the world on what has to be done to advance the development and betterment of the lives of our people. Aftermath, the defeat of the colonialism and against imperialism. It is precisely this reason that marches of such nature are rolled out. Another recent occurrence which remind us of this generational mission is the march we joined forces when workers of the Emergency Medical Services, EMS, said enough is enough to unfair labor practices they experiences while saving lives. 8.4, our commitment did not end in 2021. Even this year, the province has mobilized masses in solidarity with workers. In Bethakwa Hospital, we joined the march for insourcing of cleaners, security guards. Furthermore, in 2022, the Organizing and Mobilization Department pushed for march to the Provincial Department of Education in solidarity with 600 Gauteng small business operators who were prejudiced by irregular awarding of the tender by the department. Also, after hearing reports of healthcare workers not being paid for over months and the unfair treatment of healthcare community care workers, we challenged the Department of Health in Gauteng, demanding payments of unpaid salaries and restatement in both cases respectfully. The workers were soon after paid following the organization intervention. Furthermore, this year, we launched on a mother-to-daughter women's program by identifying young girls within the community of Joburg in Ward 32 who were given dignity pads, sanitary towel, toothpaste, toothbrushes, face cloths, both soaps, deodorants. We committed that this will be done on a monthly basis in order to uplift the moral and dignity of these girls. It is our hope that this effort will encourage and enable young girls to take their rightful places in the society without the scars of feeling excluded for the basic need not being met. The EFF in Gauteng also identified a 60-year-old granny who is living with 3 children in leaking tiny room at Cosmos City Extension. The EFF visited the family just recently when it was raining and found that with water pouring through the gaps and the roof had turned to pool of water while the family was inside. The EFF suggested to the municipality collective consisting of other parties that it should take Gogo and family to the local BNB, negotiate free temporary accommodation while trying to find a permanent solution. The collective accepted the EFF proposal and were attended to the BNB and negotiated for free temporary accommodation for the family. The owner of the BNB happened to be an EFF member and agreed to accommodate the family in the next 3 days. EFF appealed to the community members, philanthropists, and business community to donate to the family construction materials such as room sets, cement, and sand. Our efforts did not end there. In Johannesburg Ward 100, we also helped in building of a house for a blind woman. Fighters, while this intervention cannot be fully addressed, the material conditions of our people, especially those who are vulnerable, we must not see this as a drop on the ocean. Every move we make, no matter how small, we makes a huge difference on those affected. We must carry on with this and intensify our elevation of poverty and equality we see in our communities. Elections. The EFF founding manifesto states that economic freedom fighters will contest political power because we are guided by the firm belief that we need political power in order to capture the state and then transform the economy to the emancipation of black South Africans and especially Africans. The forms in which the EFF contests political power will from time to time be reviewed in light of the prevailing circumstances by the primary role of mass organization and activism, as it means to raise political consciousness of our people will remain a backlog of the political practices. Therefore, it is for these reasons that the organization in its character will always contest all elections as form of contesting for political power. Between the September 2018 and today, which is the period under review, the organization contested both the 2019 national provincial election NPA, 2021 local elections LGA, and the municipality election. This section of the report meant to give reflex by giving a brief synopsis of the result of both electoral events. And point 1, the 2019 national and provincial elections. In 2019 NPA, the province received 612,000 votes in the national ballot and 634 in the provincial ballot, which gave the EFF 13.53%. The organization received less than 50 votes in 2 wards, more than 100 votes in 249 wards, and more than 1,000 votes in 272 wards. Out of the 529 IEC wards, the province received 11 members in the provincial legislature, 1 in COP, 7 regional candidates, altogether 19 seats. City of Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni, followed by the city of Tshwane, have performed well compared to the regions in other provinces. The table and graph below give a high-level breakdown of the TPC of result per region. The 2021 local government election. In 2021 LGE, the province received 321,462 votes in the ward ballot and 3,008 in the PR ballot, which gave the organization 11.89, as opposed to 11.36 in 2016 local election. The organization growth is ceased from 126 in 2016 to 140 in 2021 local election, at which 133 are proportional representative seats, 1 ward councillor in Mirafong, Ward 13, and 6 are district councillor seats. The organization won 1 ward seats, lost 1 in Ekurhuleni, Ward 102. The organization grew by 14 seats. The table below outlines the EFF 2021 local election results per municipality. While there's a room for improvement, we are pleased that the organization represented in all 9 municipalities. The organization received not less than 100 votes in 37 wards and received 100, not 100 above votes in 492 wards, which represent 93% potential EFF branches in Kustendi. Fighters, the recent by-election outcome from both region, West Rand and Johannesburg, give a signal that we can do more. We can ultimately take the position of being the official opposition in this province, if not leading party in 2024. We won the by-election in West Rand and came closer to winning one in Johannesburg. The secret lies on having existing voting district election task force members, as many volunteers coming from voting station being registered to vote in that station. This further showed that this thing of Action SA was just a popcorn of new thing, that it has had some significant numbers that give them some councillors. But our people now realize that black like me, detachment don't have nothing to offer than that of those of DA lights. They report to the same master, and it's just white man's organization advocating his agenda with the face of an African person, black like me. And again, some opportunistic elements who claim to be members of this revolutionary movement, but in reality, they were not. They were exposed because when about position were not committed to the EFF cause, how can you leave the Marxist and Leninist and radical black consciousness guided by values of Frantz Fanon, components of our ideological guidance principles as stipulated in the founding manifesto, and join a reactionary force, both ideological and discriminatory, against African people, against yourself, because they were with us, but real fighters. This shows that they were never convinced, and they did not know what they had joined the EFF for. But fighters leaving this hall, after we would have concluded the business of this assembly, we must tell ourselves that the upcoming 2024 national election will be personal to us and the organization and our dejected masses of our people. We must go in our numbers. We must go to our branches and ensure that in each and every voting district in the province has members in good standings who are also available to do work of the organization on a constant basis. We must know our wards and the social dynamics like how we know ourselves. We must go and engage, teach our people about the importance of the African solidarity in order to diffuse the confusion caused by the Rupert-rented mobs that are instigated of hatred against African brothers. This will assist in avoiding the IFP similar situation that happened during the early 90s when it was used by the apartheid to persuade violence against our people. 9.3 by-election. The organizing has contested all by-election in the period under review. This is to keep with the organization's strategic mission of capturing state power. The analysis below covers the most significant outcomes worth noting. Rand West, Ward 29. Rand West City is a newly established local municipality in Gauteng province. It was established after the August 3rd, 2016 local municipality election by amalgamating Randfontein and the Western Area local municipality. The municipality has a total of 60 seats in 2021 local government election. The ANC received 31 seats, followed by DO 16 and EFF with 11. Election results analysis as the below table. In 2016 local election, the organization received 182 votes and turnout of 35%. In 2021, the organization received 120 votes, 34%. The organization declined from 56 votes in 2021 and compared to 2016. However, the organization divided in two voting stations by 87 votes as compared to 2016. By-election results in 2022 per voting station. West Rand, Ward 29. The EFF got 139 in 10 Venezuela informal settlement, 432 in 10 Holomesa next to Soa, 79 in 10 the Spoke. The EFF got 650 votes. In the 2022 by-election, the organization increased its members in all the voting stations. The organization had a significance in growth from 120 total votes in 2021 to 650 votes in 2022 by-election. Given the above analysis, it is with great assurance that indeed the organization is growing as a total potential of winning elections in 2021. The above Ward 29 was won by the EFF with the margin of 178 votes. Johannesburg, Ward 53 in the city of Johannesburg. The council is constituted by 270 seats with a threshold of 136 seats required to constitute government. The majority party with 91 seats need only 45 seats to constitute government. With 179 seats, opposition parties can constitute government. This ward remained a priority since the municipality is a hanged municipality. Elections results compared to 2016, 2020, and 2021 as per the below table. In 2016, the organization received 1962 as the turnout was 59%. In 2021, organization received 1,126 votes and voter turnout 38%. The organization declined by 831 voters in 2021 as compared to 2016. By-election results 2022 per voting station in Ward 53. The EFF got 336 in Slovo Hall. In Methodist got 263. In Klip Valley, the EFF got 458. In 10 Leferon, the EFF got 66. In Leferon Secondary, 172. Leferon Primary School, 125. Doronkop Hostel, 7. The EFF got 1,427 votes. In 2022 by-election in Ward 53, the organization increased its votes from 1,227 in 2019 votes to 1,427 in 2022, which is an increase of 300 votes. It should further be noted that the organization had received majority votes in Klip Valley VD, which is the VD that the EFF have taken. The above ward 53 was retained by the AC with a margin of 126 votes. 10, governance. Governance refers to the organization, presentation, involvement, and participation in the provincial legislature, municipalities, metros, governance is overseen by a government task unit under the leadership of the provincial and regional leadership. Composition of government task unit is made up of the GTU heads of the province, the 2 whips of the EFF, the Gauteng provincial legislature, as well as the regional GTU heads, who are determined by the party leader status and municipality by the respective decision of the original command team structures. The provincial governance task unit meets on a needs to discuss governance priorities and records and its meetings, including resolutions. As with other provinces, the situation of Heng municipality creates challenges in ensuring effective oversight, accountability. After 2021 local election, electoral results in Gauteng led to hanging 3 metro municipalities in Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and Joburg, and 1 local municipality, Mogale City. This resulted in all 4 being led by coalition government controlled by TA. The EFF National took the resolution to opt out of the coalition arrangement of the government because other political parties failed to meet their demands. Instead, elected to vote with one of 2 dominant parties, and a decision which is led by the EFF voting with the Democratic Alliance in coalition in all municipalities. The primary purpose of this decision was so that voting would be based on a case-by-case budget voting negotiation in all Heng municipalities, with the aim of basing voting decision purely on the constituency budgetary needs in the core constituency of the EFF to prioritize wars. This meant that the EFF will only support those budgets that will benefit the communities with the dearest needs for these communities to be prioritized for critical service deliveries. Gauteng GTU hosted successful land expropriation without compensation workshops, preparatory mock hearings, and actual parliamentary public hearings in Vereeniging Western Area and in Tshwane in 2021. Below, we will outline the organization presentation in the legislature and as well as councils. Chairs. (10.1) Provincial legislation. During the May 2021 general election, the Economic Freedom Fighters Gauteng obtained 11 seats out of the total of 73 seats in Gauteng. Provincial legislature GPL from votes gained, which comprised of 634,385 votes, and 14.69% for the provincial portion of the total Gauteng voters who turned up in voting stations. Below is the list of deployees in the Gauteng provincial legislature. Number 1, Commissar Itani Mukweva. Number 2, Commissar Mushekoma. 3, Fighter Gitingi Mazwi. Fighter Marcela Ltwaba. Fighter Beverly Pendenhorst. Fighter Ruth Munisi. Fighter Azi Chitangano. Fighter Mamsi Mufam. Fighter Homotso Tong. Fighter Nchanga Zakhatebe. Fighter Christina Mabal. The total number of Gauteng voters who voted for 400 were spread across 5 municipalities as well as the demarcation. This is an adequate vote turnout, was 68% out of the total of 606,141 votes that were registered with an independent electoral commission IEC for Gauteng province in 2019 election year. A table detailing and comprising the EFF represented in Gauteng provincial legislature and performance by municipalities in 2019 is found in Annex Chapter 3. The former provincial chairperson was a party leader in the provincial legislature tasked with the role of being a party leader as well as the accounting officer for the EFF is Commissar Dan. The acting chairperson of the party leader in the provincial legislature is Commissar Dan Mugwebo and Commissar Mushokoma, being the two whips deployed in the caucus and operation constituent duty as listed in the constituent deployment is found in Annexure 4, where a list of GPL committees allocation is found in Annexure 5. The constituency whip has been overseeing constituency activities with the aim of ensuring maximum constituency participation in the relevant EFF activities involvement in the legislature. The whips, together with the party leader, ensured attention was paid to running of the caucus and will take decision as collective. Moreover, in one of the whips, alongside the party leader, would make decision whenever critical decisions were needed to ensure the smooth engagement of the caucus operation, which include but not limited to proceedings of committees, attendance, maintenance, adherence to caucus resolution, and implementation. The following assumptions of the office as a party leader by Commissar Itanumgo, which resulted in the vacancy in the WIPAR, Fighter Ruth Mnisi was deployed as a subsequent caucus whip. The above status of responsibility remains to date. Owing to the vacancy occasioned by the resignation of the then party leader, Fighter Christina Mabala was sworn in as the Gauteng legislators and MPL of the EFF caucus from the 2nd of July 2020 to fill up the vacancy. The EFF Gauteng caucus in both the legislature and municipality had been functioning very well, though most under strict lockdown regulation at the provincial legislature level. All EFF MPs has been attending house sittings and their committees commitment as expected, mostly via visual meetings. In order to enhance their role and participation, the new EFF deployee to the GPL, who assumed the office after the 2019 general election, has undergone various in-house training and organizational workshops for familiarizing themselves with the roles and responsibilities as well as how committees business is conducted. EFF MPs have been attending as many committees meetings as they could, including in special rules committee meetings, and the organizational involvement in the GPL continues to be both noticeable and adds value. Some of this constituency oversight work, which resulted in opening criminal cases by this abusive public office, has been addressed earlier in the report. See legal action section. As part of this oversight function, Gauteng EFF has asked in excess of 294 questions from 2019 to date, both for oral written responses as well as holding the executive accountable. The Gauteng EFF MPs conducted an announced oversight visit to the following public institutions in 2021: the Ratong Hospital, Tembisa Hospital, Steve Biko Hospital, Rahima Musa Mother and Child Hospital, Dr. Yusuf Naidu Hospital, South Rand Hospital, Mami Lodi Hospital, Chris Hanna Perakwanas Hospital during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. MPs also visited Ramunkumnopi and Flatfontein clinics where cases of COVID-19 were reported. The MPs attended the municipality Mohali City Mega Human Settlement Program, visited by Krugerstop Taxi rank building projects, and conducted an oversight in Kuzong to assess the sinkhole problem in the area. The EFF MPs contributed to the following needy communities around the province before and during COVID-19: lockdown water tanks, 208 mobile toilets, 970 school shoes, 470 school uniforms, 256 PPEs, 481 toys, gym supporting equipment, 202 food parcel, 1,585 renovated homes, 10 sanitary towels, 440 motivational talks, 36. Furthermore, the EFF MPL organized various cleaning programs in different regions which were implemented in April 2022. As a regard its deployment to the National Council of Provinces and NCOP, From May 2021, the NCOP delegate to Gauteng is Fighter Kenny Mutsamai. The status of the NCOP delegate remains unchanged, and Fighter Mutsamai is always available during NCOP visit to the legislature and much involved in constituency work in the province. The EFF legislature have supported staff who support, assist administrating the work of the organization in its participation in the GPL. Though the EFF in the legislature presently employs a total of 7 staff members comprising of 2 researchers, 2 secretaries PA to the party leader, 1 office manager and legal office, currently deployed to the provincial office. The initial intake on the EFF employee in the legislature was a total of 9 employees in 2021. All the staff are employed on a fixed term contract basis since 2021. The EFF have had 2 resignations which were processed in 2021 respectively. 10.2 Oversight work conducted by EFF councillors. The EFF caucus in Johannesburg municipality has a total of 29 seats, equating to 10.7% out of 270 seats in the Johannesburg Council. Today, the EFF caucus in the Johannesburg has submitted 23 motions, with only 4 motions passing in the municipality. For the period under review, the EFF is currently not chairing any committee in the municipality. There's only been 1 councillor who has passed away since the 2021 local elections. The EFF caucus in Tshwane has a total of 23 seats, equating to 13.45 out of 214 council seats in the city of Tshwane. Today, the EFF caucus in the municipality has submitted 6 motions which are awaiting confirmation for the period under review. The EFF is currently not chairing any committee. There has been 4 councillors that have resigned, passed away since the local elections. The EFF caucus in Ekurhuleni Metro has a total of 31 seats, equating to 13.57 out of 224 councillor seats. To date, the EFF caucus in the municipality have submitted various motions, of which 2 were adopted by the council. The EFF is currently chairing the following committees: 1, MPEC; 2, Committee of Safety and Safety Committee; Corporate Shared Service, Rules Committee; Programming, Public Participation Committee; Chair of Chairs, and Petition Committee. In Western District Municipality, the EFF occupied 3 seats out of 18 council seats. The EFF is currently chairing MPEC within the district municipality. The EFF caucus in Mogale City local municipality has a total of 11 seats, equating to 13.89% of the 77 seats. This constitutes an increase of 2 seats compared to the 2016 local election. Today, the EFF caucus have submitted a total of 2 motions, of which 1 is in sourcing of security guards and cleaners, and was adopted. After 2021 local election, the EFF seconded to the chair of MPEC within the municipality. The EFF caucus in Randwest local municipality has a total of 11 seats, including this equating to 14.5 out of 69 council seats. The EFF caucus submitted a total of 3 motions for the period under review, and all which has been deferred by the council. The EFF caucus in the Merafo local municipality has a total of 9 seats, equating to 15.5% out of the total of 55 seats council. For the period under review, the EFF caucus submitted 1 motion which was debated and not supported or adopted. In Sidibeng District Municipality, the EFF occupied 3 seats out of the total of 20 council seats. The EFF caucus in Mfulweni local municipality has a total of 14 seats, equating to 14.59 out of the total of 19 seats. Today, the EFF caucus submitted a total of 15 motions, of which 9 were adopted. The EFF caucus in Midvaal local municipality has a total of 2 seats, equating to 5% of the total of 30 council seats. For the period under review, the EFF caucus submitted a total of 7 motions and 2 were adopted. The EFF caucus in the Sedi local municipality has a total of 4 seats, equating to 13.53% out of the total of 26 council seats. For the period under review, the caucus submitted a total of 8 motions and 3 motions were adopted by council. It is worth noting that at municipality level, EFF caucus conducted several public institution visits across the province as part of the oversight during lockdown. In Igurlen, the following clinics were amongst the institutions visited: Kwatemba, Wise City, Joy, Mpupini, Boxback, Crystal Park, Sakani, Margaret Zuma clinics. The EFF caucus, together with the RCT, contributed the following to the deserving communities in the region: food vouchers, parcels, sanitary towels, and face masks. In the CDBA, the following public institutions were visited as part of the oversight: Ploji Meatin, Johannesburg, Ratanda, and Devon's clinics. Wipato, Heidelberg Hospitality were also attended. The EFF caucus is CDBA also. The RCT further contributed distribution of food parcel to the needy in the region. In Johannesburg region and West Rand and Tshwane region, the EFF caucus contributed and distributed food parcels to the needy. 11, organizational discipline. Our organization character is one of the discipline and order. This is why the Constitution and the Revolutionary Code spell out what is required of fighters. For this reason, the province has Provincial Disciplinary Committee, PDC. PDC composition as follows: the chairperson is fighter Nonhlanhla Khadebe. The prosecutor is Advocate Tabela. Members are fighter Beverly Benden Horse, fighter Liza Poko. Between 2018 and 2022, the PDC received a total of 5 cases and found all 5 charged members guilty. The charges include undermining, defying the decision of the upper structure, as well as bringing the organization into disrespect. The PDC recommended suspensions as an expropriate sanction, and the matters were referred to the CCT for consideration. The CCT considered the matters and found in favor of the charged members. The matter is in respect of the 5th members has been sent to the office of the Secretary General at the years to be considered by the CCT. In 2021, the province received a report that 2 councillors, Sibusiso Ntubate, Vuyeswa from Merafo municipality, missed more than 3 consecutive council sittings and were not participating in any organizational program. The matter was referred to the National Disciplinary Committee, NDC, and the NDC found the charged fighters guilty and recommended expulsion. The CCT concurred with the NDC and charged members were effectively expelled. 12, obituaries. Between 2028 and 2022, the organization lost its members, trusted, dedicated fasters. Among these leaders in the organization structures and EFF public representative. In Johannesburg region, the organization lost the following leaders and peer councillors, and may their soul rest in peace. We lost fighter Khabo Hlonyane, lost fighter Pinki Nkwenkwana, fighter Lehlono Lomoloto, fighter Palesa Lebo. In Tshwane region, the organization lost the following leaders and peer councillors due to death: fighter Judy Sibia, fighter Bennett Chavani, fighter Steve Chauke, fighter Henrietta Matebula. May their soul rest in perfect revolutionary peace. Conclusion. As we gather here, conclusion. As we gather here under the 2022 organizational theme of Year of the Branches, we are reminded of the importance of the branch as a basic fundamental unit of the organization. This theme should encourage activism. Perhaps this explains why in Rand West we won Ward 29 in the recent by-election. This is not the only victories to be celebrated. In 2021 local elections, the organization won Ward in Merafong, Ward 13. The numerous wins of the organization have been outlined, and these interventions must be repeated moving forward. While we celebrate these wins, we do so knowing full well that there's much more to be done. As an organization, we must, if we are to grow, introspect, make proper assessment of where we are and where we come from, so that we can forge ahead into the future with these victories. Taking stock of the journey of the past 4 years of the province under the elected leadership, it is of the critical components of this gathering. This privilege enables us to conduct political diagnosis of the organization in Gauteng. The increased membership, which continues gradually to escalate in clear pulse of the heartbeat of the revolution in Gauteng. If we are to all throw our weight behind this momentum, the rest assured will capture not only the imagination of the voting population, but state power in itself in order to transform the lives of our people. Despite the shortcomings associated with COVID-19, our members were still visible on the ground, agitating, advocating for what is right, at the times at the cost of their lives and health. Perhaps this was an amplified expectation regarding the elected leadership. After all, we are all elected, not to grandstand, but to serve the organization and our people. Indeed, as leaders of the province, regions, and branches, ours is to vanguard the revolution. Yet the great number which we saw during rallies, pickets, organizational programs point to the fact that the province is maturing, especially in drawing the connection between the membership and activism. On that note, branches, delegates gathered here, please convert your message as the province that we thank all EFF ground forces for always availing themselves to the uncompromised activities in guarding and pursuing and pushing forward the revolution. Without your selflessness, the task of taking the organization to the greater heights in this province would have been discouraging. We also wish to thank all delegates present and absent for their disciplined hard work leading up to this assembly. Through your dedication and order, we have been able to coordinate and convene this assembly in an orderly manner. We trust that we will keep the momentum on this note throughout this conference. Our staff members employed by the organization, those serving us in the provincial legislature, council, as well as volunteers played a critical role in ensuring that there was stable administration both prior to after this lockdown. The long hours and sacrifice you have continued to contribute your service not only to the organization but the revolution itself. For this we say thank you. We thank the leadership in the branches, region, the province for always leading the ground forces of the EFF with humanity, selflessness. Some of you have forgotten your personal ambitions and unveiled yourself in the revolution by taking away from your family times because of the EFF. And perhaps more is especially of your commitment to the revolutionary call, you spend less time with your loved ones. For those who are deployed to the state institutions, the constant stigma and misguided view that appearing on TV or holding public office means that you will be rich. We thank you for holding up to the EFF banner, knowing full well that despite the fame and perceived opulence, in times of distress, you often have nowhere to turn. Banks and scrutiny ask for more than they are ordinary applicants. Our children, as well as our families, are victimized at schools, at work, and their broader communities because they are associated with us for being EFF. For this, we await no reward, standing ovation, for we know that history will vindicate us. We thank all public representatives in Gauteng to their diligent work in the legislature, in the metros, in council, your robust engagements, oversight, all together holding the state accountable on the matters such as fraud, corruption, service delivery is part of the reason why today Gauteng EFF can point out tangible outputs. A case in point of the achievement we saw in Johannesburg between 2018 and 2019, which saw the EFF motion resulting in insourcing of security guards and cleaners from any 5,000 to any 12,500 at Johannesburg region. Also, just recently, the EFF moved for a motion in Kurleni, which was successfully passed for the formalization of all informal settlement in Kurleni. Your hard work, not only seen in the ballot boxes in council, but also in the street amidst COVID, where you rallied behind the service delivery marches, protests. For this, the organization salute you, gallant fighters. Last and not least, we thank the Gauteng Provincial Command Team, and we do so because this PCT led under very unusual circumstances presented not only by COVID-19, but also political dynamics, which, if it was not for this unity, could have brought the province to its knees. Much as we have differed from time to time, our engagement and deliberation in the PCT meetings in the officials were always raised comradely and organizational. We wish to also thank the national leadership led by the President and Commander-in-Chief, who himself is deployed to this province, the council guidance, well as the support well received from the Central Command team members in all matters pertaining to the activities of the province, have molded us in a way which made us to work more seamless. Fighters, as branches, delegates gathered here, you are the rightful owners of EFF in Gauteng. We hope that we consolidate. We hope that we consolidate the ground towards socialist power. You will continue educating, agitating, galvanizing, and rallying the society behind the banner of the EFF. In all we do today and beyond, may the EFF win and rule in Gauteng. Amandla.
Anginizwa yo satubule sipamu yo Amanda. Anginizwa Lukisa maoto. Amanda, comrades, Amanda, away, two, Mata, high morale, high discipline. And Shanizand, the reporter says, well, for 4 years in Gauteng province. Manda, thank you very much. Thank you very much, fighters, delegates, the leadership. We are guided by the program. We are guided by the program. We must exercise maximum discipline. Kaya letu sonke EFF. Now we are going to move to take another report. I'm guided to say, let's take the treasurer's report. After the treasurer's report, we are going to break for lunch. When we come back, we engage organizational report, we adopt, then we engage treasurer's report. That is the guidance we have now. Provincial treasurer, come on the stage. Come.